The founder of one of North Texas's most prominent megachurches is facing child sex charges. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. An Oklahoma grand jury indicted Gateway Church founder Robert Morris on 5 felony counts. The allegations emerged in June of last year when the Christian Post published a woman's story alleging she was abused by Morris starting at the age of 12. The church first said it was aware of Morris's past, quote, moral failure, then later said it did not know her age, the victim's age, or the extent of the abuse. 3 days later, Morris resigned from Gateway. In November, Gateway announced it removed multiple elders who knew the victim's age at the time of the abuse, and now Morris is facing those criminal charges. Casey Stiegel in studio with the developing story. Casey.
Yeah, good evening. This was a case that garnered national attention last summer and brought down the man who founded one of the largest mega churches in the country. But tonight, disgraced pastor Robert Morris faces more than embarrassing accusations. He's now staring down felony charges for his alleged misconduct. The 5-page multi-county grand jury indictment from Oklahoma contains disturbing details, outlining 5 separate counts of lewd or indecent acts to a child, starting on or about Christmas Day, 1982, stating Robert Preston Morris, quote, did intentionally touch or feel with his hand the body or private parts of CC, who was 12 years old at the time. All court documents do not name the victim. The initials, timeline, and details match the allegations made by Cindy Clemishire. And while Fox 4 does not usually identify victims of alleged sexual abuse, Clemishire went public with her story last June, detailing moments of her childhood in Oklahoma, where she says Robert Morris molested her repeatedly. At the time, Morris was a traveling preacher and would stay at Clemishire's home. Aside from 2 alleged crimes in 1982, the indictment outlines similar instances in January of 1983 and 1985. According to court paperwork, it escalated when his victim was 13 or 14, highlighting incidents between January of 1983 and 1985, when Morris, quote, removed her clothing and rubbed his clothed body against hers while inside a parked car. On Wednesday, an attorney representing Cindy Clemishire released this statement to Fox 4. After almost 43 years, the law has finally caught up with Robert Morris for the horrific crimes he committed against me as a child. Now it is time for the legal system to hold him accountable. My family and I are deeply grateful to the authorities who have worked tirelessly to make this day possible and remain hopeful that justice will ultimately prevail. Last June, Morris stepped down from his position as senior pastor at Gateway Church in Southlake after Clemishire's allegations came to light. Morris is a well-known pastor nationwide, once a spiritual advisor to President Trump. A representative from Gateway had this to say in light of the breaking developments. We are aware of the actions being taken by the legal authorities in Oklahoma and are grateful for the work of the justice system in holding abusers accountable for their actions. We continue to pray for Cindy Clemishire and her family, for the members and staff of Gateway Church, and for all of those impacted by this terrible situation. So why all of these years later? Well, the Oklahoma Attorney General says that the statute of limitations did actually not apply to this case because the accused has never been a resident of that state. Today, we called numbers believed to be registered to Robert Morris, but nobody answered the line. Fox 4 left a voicemail, but have not received a response or any calls back.
And Fox 4 obtained new details about the shooting at a Forest Hill car wash that killed a father and his 5-year-old daughter. Both suspects are in custody for capital murder after that shooting 1 week ago today. Fox 4's Dion Englund is live with what those court documents reveal. Dion?
Hannah, disturbing details from court documents today, yet still no clear motive has been laid out.
Adonis Robinson, arrested in Polk County on Thursday, is now in the Tarrant County Jail. On Friday, 21-year-old Jacoby Russell was also booked into the jail. Both men are facing capital murder charges in the Forest Hill car wash deaths of rap artist Ronnie Sibley and his 5-year-old daughter Armani. Court documents in the case include an arrest affidavit for Robinson. And while it does not reflect a motive in the ambush killing, it does include details that played out a week ago. It indicates Sibley was vacuuming his car when two men got out of a 2016 white Kia Rio. It states the suspects were armed with an assault-style rifle and handguns. Investigators describe how they approached Sibley and immediately opened fire, and they continued to fire and chase Sibley as he tried to run and get away. The document reveals Sibley's 5-year-old daughter, while in the front passenger seat of his vehicle, was struck and killed by those flying bullets. Further information indicates Fort Worth police located the white Kia Rio at an apartment complex, and surveillance video obtained shows two men dressed identical to the suspects arriving a few minutes after the fatal shooting. They park the car, get out, and toss objects into a grassy field before going into an apartment. It was Robinson's girlfriend, according to the affidavit, who identified him. She was seen driving away in the vehicle. Police stopped her and brought her in for questioning, where she told investigators Robinson borrowed the car after dropping her off at work, then called her later, provided the location of the vehicle, and told her to come pick the vehicle up because something had happened. Police say Robinson's Texas identification card was located inside the white Kia.
Now, court information shows Jacoby Russell is being held on a bond or a bond set at $1.5 million, and Robinson is being held with no bond.
Court documents say a man armed with a gun in a stolen vehicle led police on a chase shortly after shooting his girlfriend, shooting and killing her.
Fort Worth police say Dylan Jones here shot Ariel Levy in her apartment, then took her SUV and phone. When police found him, he took off in that SUV, leading police on a multi-city chase. Look at all those police vehicles following. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager spoke with a witness to the chase.
The suspect, Dylan Jones, now faces the charges of murder and evading arrest after Fort Worth police say he killed his girlfriend. He led police on a dangerous chase through Tarrant County, putting many lives at risk, running red lights and driving on the wrong side of the road. The family of Fort Worth mother Ariel Levy sent Fox 4 this photo Tuesday, saying they will miss her forever, especially her two children. Fort Worth police say the 28-year-old was murdered inside her apartment by her boyfriend, 30-year-old Dylan Jones. Levy's family confirms the two were dating. According to an arrest warrant affidavit Fox 4 obtained on Tuesday, police were dispatched to a home Monday evening in South Fort Worth. The caller stated Jones showed up, claiming he, quote, blacked out and killed his girlfriend Ariel. The caller also noticed blood underneath Dylan Jones's fingernails. By the time Fort Worth police arrived at the caller's house, Jones was already gone, but he wasn't far.
The suspect drove by in the suspect vehicle, so officers attempted to pull him over.
A dangerous 40-minute police chase began through Tarrant County. The pursuit reached up to 90 miles per hour. Tracy Jordan took this video, alarmed by the amount of police cruisers traveling through Hearst.
Pushing 30, 40 police cars, and then all of a sudden they come up to precinct and they start making a U-turn, so they start coming back at us.
This video, also sent to Fox 4, shows a front row view to the end of the chase near Precinct Line Road and Grapevine Highway. Officers put out stop sticks, and the black SUV eventually comes to a halt.
I'm scared.
Police used a taser and took Jones into custody. Levy's cell phone was found inside her vehicle, along with a handgun. Detectives also observed what appeared to be dried blood under Jones's fingernails. And while the chaos played out in Hearst, Fort Worth police officers made the grim discovery at the couple's complex near Highway 287 and Blue Mound Road.
This photo shows where officers broke into the apartment. Levy was found lying in the bedroom with a gunshot wound.
Fort Worth police also say they found a shell casing lying next to Levy that matched the weapon that was found on Jones when he was arrested. Meanwhile, Fort Worth Homicide will continue to investigate the motive in this murder.
A McKinney police K-9 died today during a SWAT standoff that ended with police opening fire on an armed man in a motel room. It happened late this afternoon at a Red Roof Inn off of Highway 75. Police initially responded to a woman shot at the motel. The suspect hid in a room leading to the standoff. That ended with an exchange of gunfire and both the K-9 and the suspect killed. Fox 4's Casey Stiegel is live in McKinney with the update. Casey.
Yeah, Clarice, this was all very wild. The yellow crime scene tape has now come down. The shooting happened right in this parking lot where we're standing. I'm going to hop out of the way and let you take a live look. Eyewitnesses tell me that the suspect was staying in one of those motel rooms over there to the right-hand side of your screen. McKinney police responded to this very Red Roof Inn motel off of Interstate 75 around 2:45 this afternoon after reports of shots fired. Witnesses say a woman drove up in an SUV when a man opened fire on her vehicle. She was hit, and the 52-year-old was taken to an area hospital in stable condition. Sky 4 video shows SWAT teams moving in after cops say the gunman barricaded himself in a room and threatened to shoot even more people. According to investigators, the man finally emerged from his room and began walking away from officers down a staircase. So they deployed a K-9 to help apprehend him. At that time, McKinney police say the suspect showed a gun and shot the dog. Officers returned fire, killing the suspect, who has not been identified. Now, they rushed the McKinney police K-9 named Ozzy to a nearby animal clinic. You can see from this Sky 4 video, officers saluted the flag-draped stretcher as the animal was taken inside, but Ozzy did not survive. Meantime, those who saw all this go down today are shaken.
So when I heard the gunshots, I just hurriedly came over here to make sure everybody was okay. When I got up here, I saw all the polices, and I saw my sister running, so I drove over, and I got them in the car. It's traumatizing, especially for the kids, us still having to stay right there. And then the dog got killed in front of our doors, so it's really traumatizing for all of us.
So the motive for all of this remains unclear. How or if the suspect even knew the victim. At this point, the Texas Rangers have taken over the investigation.
Gunfire erupted at an Arlington apartment complex, and a stray bullet hit a 13-year-old girl who was sleeping in her home. The evidence of the shootout is extensive. Bullet holes in buildings and car windows smashed. Police are still looking for the people responsible. The girl did not suffer life-threatening injuries. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager spoke with neighbors and is live tonight with more. Peyton.
Hi, Steve. And the family of the 13-year-old girl tells me she was shot while she was in bed early this morning. They tell me she was shot in the arm. She was taken to the hospital, and then she was released earlier today. Now, many neighbors tell me they heard multiple rounds of gunfire, followed by many people screaming. On the other side of this first-floor window was where a 13-year-old went to sleep. Arlington police say a stray bullet struck the innocent teenager inside her apartment during an overnight parking lot shootout. The girl was rushed to the hospital by family. Her family tells Fox 4 she was released just hours later. The gunfire woke up tenants at the Arbrook Park Apartments near Interstate 20 and South Collins Street.
Oh, and there's still cop cars coming through. Like, cop cars keep coming through and going over there.
Arlington police were called out just after 2 a.m. Monday. Investigators believe two groups exchanged gunfire inside the complex. Fox 4 asked police if the shooting is related to gang activity. Right now, they aren't ruling it out.
When I came out this morning, I saw tape.
John Kelly's apartment was marked off by crime scene tape. At least two bullets barely missed his apartment window. One on the wall, another on the railing. But the bullets sprayed in multiple directions. Glass covered the ground. Multiple vehicles had windows shot out, one with a car seat in the back.
Kelly concerned with the amount of evidence markers just steps from his front door.
I noticed that there were 50 of them because the ones that came closer were 46, 7, 8, 9, 50.
The teenager's family did not want to go on camera this evening. They tell me they just want the suspects arrested. Meanwhile, Arlington police not releasing any type of suspect information, and no arrests have been announced. If you know anything regarding this shootout, contact Arlington police.
5 people are dead, including children, and at least 4 other people are fighting for their lives after a drunk driver caused a chain reaction crash in Austin that happened around 11:30 last night. And the man now charged with this violent accident was behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler. Fox 4 Sean Rabb in the newsroom with the story. Sean.
A sad, sad story, Clarice. That big rig driver in the Travis County jail facing a host of charges, and he had a court date for a speeding ticket in North Texas next week. Crumpled cars, smashed SUVs, and twisted trucks sit on southbound I-35 in North Austin. Daylight reveals the deadly multiple vehicle collision Thursday night. 17 vehicles and 17 victims.
5 patients have been pronounced deceased on the scene. That includes 3 adults, 1 child, and 1 infant.
11 others transported to several Austin area hospitals. 4 adults with critical life-threatening injuries. 1 child with potentially life-threatening injuries as well. The accident scene spread over a 1/10 of a mile along the interstate. Some had to be cut out of their vehicles. Krista Castro says her husband tried to get out of the way, but was hit from behind and knocked into the car in front of them. The couple traveling from Dallas to Mexico with minor injuries. Castro said there was an Amazon semi-trailer that came through, crashing into everything, everyone, and we couldn't tell if he had brakes or not. Solomon Weldakil Araya was arrested and charged with 5 counts of intoxication manslaughter, 2 counts of intoxication assault. The 37-year-old was driving an 18-wheeler. Weldakil Araya was supposed to be in court in Wilmer, just south of Dallas, this coming Tuesday for a 63 and a 30-mile-an-hour zone speeding ticket. An Amazon spokesperson in a statement writes, "This is a horrible tragedy, and our thoughts are with all those involved. We're looking into this further and will cooperate with law enforcement as they investigate." Austin Fire Department grateful for the Good Samaritans who assisted some of the injured.
With our total of 17 patients, with everything that the chaos that we had here, the bystander support at the initial onset of the call were very helpful.
And the National Transportation Safety Administration on X sending a GO team to Austin to investigate the crash. They'll work alongside Austin police.
Sean, thank you.
All right.
Well, more than 50 dogs were taken from a home in the Fort Worth suburb of Watauga.
Authorities say they were living in filth at that home connected to an animal rescue. Some were also found malnourished. A criminal investigation is now underway and charges could come soon. Fox 4's David Santendry spoke with a neighbor who saw this whole incident that led police to discover the animals. David?
Yeah, this is an animal cruelty investigation, and while no one has been arrested at this point in time, the chief of police says he fully expects charges to be coming.
I mean, it sounded like a dogfight, and I could tell pretty quickly it was coming from this house behind me.
Mark Mosley says he never noticed anything unusual from his neighbor's home prior to March 1st.
It sounded like a pack of dogs going after somebody or something.
The day he recalls seeing a woman running from the home in distress.
And it wasn't 30 seconds later that I could hear sirens in the distance.
Watauga Police Department says an adult was severely bitten by a dog. Animal Services removed that dog, but Mosley flabbergasted to find out how many dogs were living inside.
I had no idea that there were any Rottweilers in that house at all. There were never any indications of anything like that.
Nearly 50 Rottweilers and several other pets inside the home.
So what's really amazing is that from outside the house, you would never know that anything unusual was going on at this location. When officers went inside the house, however, they saw an entirely different scene.
Watauga Police Department says some kennels were covered in feces and urine, inches deep. Dogs were abnormally thin and weak due to lack of food.
The conditions that the animals were being held in were some of the worst that my animal services people had ever seen.
The department says the home is associated with an animal rescue named a Roddy rescue, a criminal investigation ongoing. As of now, no arrests made, but the chief is confident charges will be filed.
Everywhere that you could imagine a dog kennel being stuffed, there was a dog kennel.
I was disgusted when I saw those photos.
Mosley had no idea an animal rescue was next door.
Obviously, they must have known a thing or two about, keeping dogs, if not necessarily taking care of them.
A dog owner himself, he wishes he would have known sooner to call for help.
I can't imagine that anybody else knew either.
Police say that suspect is cooperating. Now, the dogs have been removed from the home. Fort Worth Animal Care and Control has taken some of them in, and right now it's encouraging different rescue services to assist them. It's also waiving adoption fees for its larger dogs in an effort to encourage people to adopt.
A Collin County man will spend 15 years in prison for stalking and attacking women across the county. Prosecutors say Tyler Wakefield attacked at least 2 women and would look for victims at parks. Plano police were able to stop him right before he attacked another woman, they say. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager spoke with the DA about the case. She joins us now. Peyton.
Hi, Heather. And the court heard chilling testimony from these 2 victims. The Collin County District Attorney praising these 2 women for having the strength to testify and also praising the detective work on this case. The DA calling Tyler Wakefield a serial predator. Take a look. This photo taken by a Plano police detective. Tyler Wakefield seen sitting in his vehicle watching a female jogger in Allen. Officers staked out a park off St. Mary Drive. Just as Wakefield was about to approach the jogger, officers stepped in and arrested him. Wednesday, the Collin County District Attorney's Office announced the 27-year-old was sentenced to 15 years in prison after a series of escalating targeted attacks on women. Back in July 2022, Plano police were called out to an apartment complex near Preston Road and Legacy Drive. A woman said a man, later identified as Wakefield, grabbed her butt and pushed her into a stairwell. Wakefield tried to pull her pants down, but the female yelled she just had back surgery and was wearing a back brace. Wakefield took the woman's phone, tossed it, and drove off. A witness took a picture of Wakefield's license plate. That plate matched a recent report out of McKinney. There, a woman told police Wakefield smacked her buttocks in an apartment parking lot. Plano police tracked Wakefield's vehicle to Anna, where they conducted surveillance. A detective witnessed Wakefield hunt for potential victims in public. As police were following him, Wakefield stalked a jogger at a park in Anna and then walked aimlessly around a nearby Walmart.
We're not waiting for predators like him to escalate to something even worse. We're stopping them now.
Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis says putting Wakefield in prison was critical. Wakefield pleaded guilty to the robbery charge from the July 2022 incident in Plano.
We pursued the strongest charge that we could prove beyond a reasonable doubt under the law. We got some good time on that. We just needed something that we could put him in prison.
And Wakefield, Stephen Heather, has been to prison before. According to public records, he served time for an aggravated assault conviction back in 2017. Again, his sentence for this, 15 years.
Local leaders are demanding answers after an in-custody death at the Tarrant County Jail went unreported for more than 30 days, the deadline given to report to the Attorney General's office. It's just the latest mishap as the Tarrant County Sheriff is facing scrutiny for the dozens of in-custody deaths that have occurred since he took office in 2017. Fox 4's Deion England joins us with more on the latest death. Deion.
Hi, Clarice. So an advocacy group with close watch of the Tarrant County Jail caught the violation, a missed deadline of reporting the death of an inmate.
The 36-year-old Tarrant County jail inmate, Charles Stephen Johnson, died while in custody February 8th. The Sheriff's Department says Johnson died at John Peter Smith Hospital following complications from an attempted suicide. The Sheriff's Office says although the death was immediately reported to the Texas Commission on Jail Standards, a separate reporting of it to the State Attorney General's office within 30 days did not happen, a violation of state law.
The law is very clear on reporting timelines. And so when it doesn't happen, that is a cause for concern.
Krish Gundu is co-founder of the advocacy group Texas Jail Project. It reached out to the Sheriff's Department about the missed deadline.
If you have data, then you can talk about what needs to change in the future in deaths that are preventable. But the other piece of that, I will say, is that is often the only piece of information that families and loved ones have when they lose a loved one in custody.
The Tarrant County Sheriff's Office filed the death with the AG on March 11th, one day after receiving that notification. The department has since said the omission was a clerical error that happened when a supervisor attempted to report Johnson's and another inmate, Kimberly Phillips' death. In its statement, the report for inmate Phillips was successfully submitted. However, the report for inmate Johnson was not. The supervisor was not aware that only one report was successfully submitted.
I know about the death. I did not know it had not been reported to the state properly.
The incident has sparked the concern of Commissioner Elisa Simmons, who has been vocal about the need for more transparency with what some call a disturbing number of inmate deaths in Tarrant County. Since 2017, when Sheriff Bill Wayborn took office, there have been nearly 70 in-custody deaths, including that of Anthony Johnson, Jr., a case that has resulted in the criminal indictment of several jail staff and prompted significant public outcry. Simmons would like the Commissioner's Court to formally address this recent missed reporting deadline of an inmate death.
I will be asking the sheriff to brief us at our next full Commissioner's Court meeting, give us a briefing, tell us what happened so we can understand what happened. It may very well have been a clerical error. And how do we prevent this from happening again?
Now, Gundu says this was the first time the Tarrant County Jail has missed a inmate death reporting deadline. However, she says between late 2021 and 2024, the Tarrant County Jail failed to report 26 correction, says they had 26 deaths that did not go investigated by an independent agency.
A Dallas police officer is recovering after being hit early this morning by a teenager arrested for drunk driving. Good evening, I'm Steve Eager.
Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes. So this is the second North Texas officer to suffer injuries caused by a drunk driver in less than a week. Fox 4's Sean Rabb live with the story. Sean.
Yeah, Heather, you know, just a few days ago, it was a Rowlett police officer who was hit by a drunk driver, and he still managed to pull a man out of a burning car. Happened to be the same man that ran into him. Well, earlier this morning, a Dallas police sergeant just driving down the street hit by another drunk driver. And, you know, one state law enforcement organization says it's a pervasive problem police face. Airbags deployed inside this Dallas police cruiser after an awful accident, police say, caused by a drunk driver. It happened a little before 3 a.m. Monday morning as the officer, a sergeant, drove north on Cedar Springs. He was hit by a Chevy Camaro while in the middle of the intersection at Cedar Springs and Manor Way. The impact pushing the police cruiser off the road. The Camaro struck a utility pole. The officer was taken to Parkland Hospital. The driver of the Camaro arrested on DWI charges.
I remember as soon as I had a second to think, I kind of looked at my hands and was like, oh my God, I'm still alive.
Are you okay?
Still alive is the first thought Rowlett police officer Isaac Gorski had last week after he was hit from behind while assisting another department working an accident along Interstate 30 and Dal Rock Road. The car that slammed into Gorski's squad car caught fire, and the dazed officer cleared his head used his elbow to break the driver's side window and save the person who crashed into him.
I think I just went into police mode and just went for him, yeah.
That driver, saved from the fiery wreckage, arrested for DWI. In less than a week, 2 area police officers' lives threatened by drunk drivers. The Combined Law Enforcement Associations of Texas says it happens too frequently.
Drunk driving is one of the most dangerous parts of law enforcement's job out there, as they're working collisions, as they're making traffic stops.
Or in Monday's mishap, just driving down the street.
Drunk driving is 100% preventable.
Texas ranks 3rd nationwide in alcohol-related crashes. With spring break this week for many and St. Patrick's Day parties this weekend, Texas Department of Transportation kicking off a new campaign called Drive Sober, No Regrets.
And the purpose of that is to really kind of have everyone aware of what they are doing and what decisions they're making, and to then have a decrease in our DUI alcohol-related traffic incidents.
So good news for the second time in a week. The officers okay. In fact, in both of these incidents, no one lost their lives in that incident. But now you have an 18-year-old who's going to have to steer his way through the courts dealing with the driving while intoxicated case.